Frank Costello, the name that echoes through the corridors of American organized crime. Known as the Prime Minister of the Underworld, he built an empire, outsmarting rivals and earning the trust of powerful figures. But who was Frank Costello really? And how did a man once considered the most powerful mob boss in America rise to his infamous position? Let's uncover the true story of Frank Costello, the man who ruled with influence, not violence. Frank Costello was born in 1891 in a small village in Italy. When he was just a kid, his family moved to the United States, settling in the tough streets of East Harlem. It was here that Costello learned to survive in a world filled with crime and poverty. Before long, he was mixing with small-time crooks and climbing up through the ranks of the infamous Morello crime family. Costello didn't rise to power by using violence or force like a lot of the other mobsters. Instead, it was his cleverness and calm personality that set him apart. People started to notice him, including a powerful guy named Vito Genovese, who was part of the Luciano crime family. In the early 1930s, with help from another big name in the mob, Charles Lucky Luciano, Costello played a huge part in changing how organized crime worked in New York. He helped shape the criminal empire that would eventually become what we know today as the Genovese crime family. Frank Costello wasn't just another mafia boss trying to control his little corner of the criminal world. He earned the title Prime Minister of the Underworld because of how he ruled, unlike many other mobsters who used violence and intimidation to assert their power. Costello knew that true power wasn't just about brute force, it was about influence and connections. He wasn't a man of loud outbursts or public displays of force. Instead, he was calm, collected, and strategic in everything he did. Costello wasn't just operating in the world of organized crime, he was operating in the world of power. His influence reached far beyond the streets of New York City, extending into politics, business, and even the media. He wasn't content with just controlling a few neighborhoods or running illegal gambling rackets. No, Costello understood that to maintain his position and grow his power, he had to make connections with those in positions of authority and wealth. He used his charm, negotiation skills, and ability to make deals to gain allies in high places. Whether it was politicians, judges, businessmen, or media figures, Costello knew exactly how to work the system and manipulate those around him. By the 1940s, Costello had become an integral part of New York's political and business landscape. He had a hand in everything, from influencing elections to making sure his business interests were protected in the city's legitimate industries. His power wasn't just about controlling the streets, it was about pulling the strings in both the criminal world and the world of the powerful elite. While many other mafia bosses were known for their use of violence to get what they wanted, Costello's power came from his ability to stay calm, make calculated moves, and use his connections to get things done. He was the ultimate power broker, playing both sides, criminals and politicians, against each other, ensuring that his position remained unchallenged. This ability to straddle two worlds made him one of the most influential figures in New York City during his time, and it's how he came to be known as the Prime Minister of the Underworld. Despite his success and influence, Frank Costello's rise to power didn't come without challenges, especially when it came to dealing with rivals and betrayal within the very organization he helped build. One of his closest allies was Vito Genovese, but over time, their relationship began to sour. Genovese, who had once been a loyal supporter of Costello, grew ambitious and desired more power for himself. This tension eventually escalated into a fierce rivalry. In 1957, Costello became the target of an assassination attempt orchestrated by Genovese, who is now looking to take control of the Genovese crime family for himself. The attempt on Costello's life was a turning point. He survived the shooting but knew that his time at the top was coming to an end. Instead of launching a bloody war for power, Costello made a decision that surprised many. He retired from the day-to-day operations of the family. He stepped away from the spotlight and handed over control of the family to Genovese, though he still maintained some level of influence behind the scenes. This act of stepping aside was not out of fear but rather a strategic move. Costello knew that by bowing out gracefully, he could avoid further bloodshed while still maintaining his influence in the shadows. But the betrayal by Genovese marked the end of an era for Costello, and it showed just how fragile loyalty could be in the dangerous world of organized crime.